Regalado.
Edith.
Good afternoon, sir. My first question is about the victims of Typhoon Pablo in Compostela, Davao Oriental, and Davao del Norte. So far, we just would like to know what has government done so far. And the other question is, especially in restoring power in the area, and do we have a long-term plan for rehabilitation, especially for work and other jobs for the victims? And the follow-up question, Mr. President, could you please assess what is the country's absorptive capacity in terms of ODAs, given that we are in this Philippine Development Forum now?
Yung medyo maraming tanong mo, Edith.
Yes,
so,
sir.
susubukan ko sagutin lahat.
Yes, sir.
Okay. First, yung sa long-term rehabilitation, personally, I'm more focused on saan ba natin ilalagay para safe. Yun ang pangako natin. Safe relocation sites. So, Secretary Silman informs me that the last meeting natapos sa DOST, determination ng geohazard, magkakaroon ng build and no-build zones. No-build, siyempre, bali yung unsafe na areas, either unsafe because of flash flooding or yung risk of landslide. Medyo very high risk of either flash floods or landslides. Yun ang magiging no-build zones. Okay. What has the government done? There is continuing relief assistance for at least about 140,000 families, or about 75% of the total number of affected families. There are cash for work projects and activities for the 139,798 families. There is emergency shelter assistance for 62,638 families at about 10,000 pesos each. There's core shelter assistance for 39,762 families. Okay. And livelihood assistance for all 139,798 families. Okay. Sorry, what were the other questions?
The other was on on restoring power in the area, because I understand there are still areas in the affected places that still have no power.
Okay. Unfortunately, wala dito yung Secretary of Energy. But I'm made to understand that at least in yung mga poblasyon, power has already been restored. There are some far-flung barangays that have yet to have restoration of power. Now, yung really laying out the grid, syempre will go inside with where we will relocate all of these families, especially those that are living in the intensely risky areas. So that will be finalized by this week. Tapos everything will be put back to order as promised when I visited after the aftermath of Pablo.
Yeah, and then the last question on the absorptive capacity of the country when it comes to ODAs, especially after the PDF now.
Dito, DBM. Pasagot ko sa DBM.
Well, in fact, last week, we met with our multilateral partners so that first we can properly decide which ODA program should be given priority and then how they should be implemented and monitored so that we are aware of the progress of those funds. So there is going to be a mechanism that is going to be presented to the President and the Cabinet insofar as the management of the ODA support is concerned.
Thank you, sir.
Pwede na idagdag dahil veteran ng gobyerno ngayon, there is more ability to come up with the counterparting that is necessary for this ODA. Hence, yung absorptive capacity in and of by itself, by that better efficiencies in government should also increase.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Edith. Marvin Pineda, DXDZ RMN.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. President. Okay, sir. The riverside communities in Davao City are no longer safe according to Mines and Geoscience Bureau after the recent flooding incident last week. But according to Vice Mayor Rodrigo Duterte, it is very expensive to resettle the residents to the safer area. How can the national government help in addressing this concern, sir?
Siyempre, pinaka-importante dito yung saving lives. Parang kailangan namin gumawa ng paraan, maghanap ng pondo para ipondohan yung magastos na trabahong to. Dahil ang priority ng gobyerno ay paglingkurin yung taong bayan. So hindi tayo maglilingkod kung pababayaan natin doon sa mga risky na areas. So Nandito ng buong economic cluster, halos buong kabinete nandito. At alam nila na priority natin yan, na walang iiwan ng mga mamamayan sa mga peligrosong lugar. So, yung paano gagawin yan, palagi ko naman, ang dami ng examples kung saan tayo nakatipid. Kaninang binanggit ko, DPWH, 12 billion. Palagi ko malaki-laki na may lilipat natin pondo sa mga savings mula nung last year and even 2011 na savings, no? Para pondohan itong pag-sasayos ng ating mga komunidad. Basta bottom line, dapat hindi yung lalo na forward na tayo na nagbabago yung weather patterns. Hindi na sa northern Mindanao na lang dumadaan or parang bumabati yung mga bagyo. Kailangan paghandaan natin ng gusto na siguraduhin na walang iiwan na nasa peligro. Problema na namin kung saan natin hahanapin yung pantustos ito. Pero kung may, di ba, sa English, where there's a will, there's a way. Kung gusto, mahanapan ng paraan. Okay. At yun ang gusto po natin mangyari.
Mimi Gonzalez, Business World.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Sir, what kind of assistance are we expecting from our development partners as we shift our focus to job creation to ensure growth is inclusive?
Sir, I don't think we're shifting our priorities, no, or our concentration. Nung kampanya, unang-una kong pangako, job creation. So, there's actually a meeting being scheduled to assess all that has been done for the past 2.5 years. No? Yung statistics na tinatrumpet, parang medyo hindi ganun how should I put it? Didn't make that much sense to me when I was reviewing it. No? Na gusto ko i-fine-tune muna yung pag-collect ng data, ma-fine-tune natin yung mas klaro ang pag ma-address yung problema at mas klaro yung solusyon dito sa mga problema tinukoy. Okay. So, ulitin ko lang, yung mga investments natin na continuously increasing sa education, no? Both sa basic ed, yung pagtulak sa K-12 is meant to empower our citizens to have better paying jobs or to give them the necessary skills to be able to acquire jobs. Hinighlight ko ilang beses yung PhilJobNet na website ng ating Department of Labor na nag-umpisa tayo, mga 40,000 jobs available raw ang nandun. At mas marami nag-apply. Yung last na report sa akin ni Secretary Baldos, over something like 230,000 postings on PhilJobNet at ang aplikante para mga 117,000. Mas konti yung aplikante doon sa jobs na available. Na inuulit lang na yung jobs na available at yung skills na available ng ating labor force ay hindi magkatugma. So, tinatrabaho rin natin na siguraduhin na yung generate na skills tugma or may papasukan na trabaho. Alam niyo yung isang trahedya nung araw na natukoy ko na sa ilang mga talumpati natin. Nung ako'y kongresista, may dumating na mga nursing students sa Kongreso, mga 80 sila. Itinanong ko ilan sa inyo ang mananatili sa Pilipinas pagkatapos ng yung lahat ng proseso, yung pag-graduate, pagtapos ng board. Sa 80, dadalawa. No? So ngayon naman, parang ang hinahabol nga natin dito, yung nagtulong-tulong na ang labor, CHED, pati na rin DepEd, TESTA, no? Na siguraduhin na meron kang papasokang trabaho ang ating mga kababayan pag nag-graduate. So, kalinsunod nun, meron na at least dalawa ang alam ko, pero meron pa yata mga ibang, mga eskwelahan, na tinutukoy nila yung kakulangan sa BPO industry. Meron na mga kurso nakatutok para sa BPO mismo. No? So, ko, yung imbis na bahala na system, talagang pinipilit natin alamin kung ano ang mga prospects ng trabaho, not today, but 2 years, 4 years from now, ipaalam sa mga mag-aaral para naman bagay yung kanilang tinatalakay tungo doon sa kanilang pwedeng pasukan. No? Siyempre kung ayaw natin mangyari nung araw na, sorry nga ba nasagot, no? Nung araw may occupational therapist dahil hot industry. Nung nag-graduate, lumipat na nursing. Nung nag-graduate, lumipat na naman ang kung ano pang kurso dahil parati silang humahabol doon sa trabahong wala na by the time nag-graduate. Yun ang pinapalitan natin. So, tukuyin ko lang doon sa nung binabasa ko yung labor force statistics kasi, ang estimate natin may 1 million ng population ang pumapasok dagdag sa labor force taon-taon. So, 860,000 on average na create na jobs for the last 2 years, no? Yun yung pinakabagong records. Ang hindi klaro sa akin doon, so kung may 140,000 na dinadagdag, 1 million ang pumasok, 860 na create, may 140 na diferensya, so tataas yung unemployment rate. No? Ngayon, baka nagkakamali ako ng math, yun ang gusto kong papaliwanag na gumawa ng survey dahil sabi lang, buwababa yung unemployment rate. So, mas maraming pumasok naghahanap ng trabaho, kumonti ay hindi napuno lahat ng bagong dagdag, meron kayong dating deficit, bakit napapababa yung unemployment rate? So, kailangan liwanagin yan.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Isa sa huling dalawang tanong, magmumula kay Joyce Pañares, ating Pangulo ng Malacanang Press Corps.
Joyce?
Good noon, sir. Sir, are we open to using international laws or conventions to seek a higher fine over the grounding of the USS Guardian on Tubataha Reef?
Palagi yung una muna dito yung ating laws, no? There is a specific law governing Tubataha. But we met with the U.S. Embassy, with Ambassador Thomas in particular, with Rear Admiral Carney. But it was Ambassador Thomas who said that they are not just going to compensate us in terms of paying the necessary fines, no? But they are also envisioning how to assist the rehabilitation of Tubataha, to include posting parang Peace Corps volunteers to the area to accelerate the rehabilitation of the reef.
Pero sir, parang we're open to looking at other possible conventions that can be applied to the incident. And also, may we know if you have already seen the salvage operation plan of the...
I haven't seen the operations plan. Conceptual lang na the last is the same that you've heard. No? Kakatap yung ship, kesa idadrag mo yung ship through the reef, kesa ilalapit mo yung salvage ship to the reef also, na baka, di ba, mababaw, baka pagbuhat niya, sumama pa yung salvage ship doon sa sinasalvage na ship. So, in details, I think we'll be with Secretary Bay. I think he's presenting it to me, if not today, no, by tomorrow. Siguro by tomorrow. I'll be back kasi by 6 p.m. tonight. Yung are we open to check? Yung this is being studied intensely, no? By the council that governs Tubataha, by our Secretary of Justice, by the Department of Foreign Affairs, and the Department of Transportation and Communications, which under whose auspices the Coast Guard exists.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Huling tanong, mula kay Raymond Tinasa ng Bombo Radio.
Raymond?
Sir, magandang hapon, sir. Sir, with regards to the latest clash between the Abu Sayyaf group and the MNLF, sir, I understand there is standing peace pact with the MNLF. Is this being sanctioned, or was there any clearance from the government?
Sorry. Walang sanction, walang clearance. They didn't tell us that they're going to attack the Abu Sayyaf. So, Sunday,
Yeah.
when I first heard about the clash, no, unang priority natin, siyempre, yung mga citizens or our civilians, no, who might be caught up in the conflict areas. So, we directed both the security services, meaning the AFP and the PNP, and also Secretary Soliman sa DSWD, to ensure that the civilians who might be caught up in the areas are evacuated to safe areas and are taken care of. So there are something like 300 plus families, no, that are currently being assisted primarily by the LGU of Sulu, assisted by our national government agencies.
So I understand the situation has already been stabilized, and for the future, what could the government do to prevent these unauthorized or skirmishes in the area?
Well, yun ang trinatrabaho naman natin with the peace process, di ba?
Yeah.
Para bang address the root causes. Bakit ba nagrebelde? No? Patugunan yung mga suliranin kung saan nila nakitang, or wala sila nakitang katugunan sa kanilang mga suliranin sa lipunan. So, pag natapos na natin yung framework agreement, di ba, yung development plans nga for Mindanao, yung educational activities that we are presently doing, no? Yung medyo, Raymond, pakibasa lang, medyo mahaba-haba yung
Yes, sir.
ginagawa nating plans, especially for the ARM, yun ang mag-a-address. Now, yung governance of the ARM, hopefully, di ba, there's a transition commission leading up to the 2016 elections where there's a transition authority. The people of Mindanao will be taking more, shall we say, a more responsive to their constituents, no, approach to governance. Hindi, yung binago natin yung buong sistema, na parang nagkaroon ng unholy alliance between Malacanang and ARM, parang previous ARM leadership, na pwedeng gawin ng dating ARM leadership, maski anong gusto nila, basta mag-deliver ng votes. Binago na natin ngayon. Yung like any other government entity, you serve at the sufferance of the people. Meaning, pag natuwa sa'yo yung mga kababayan mo, binabalik ka sa pwesto. So, tutugunan, no, itatayo na kapalit ng ARM government, hopefully, no, pag napasa na yung batas at may election sa tayo ng 2016, yung isang entity na talagang mas tutugon sa suliranin, sa inaasam ng mga kababayan natin, lalo na doon sa army. Yan ang tutugon pang matagalan sa problema umiiral ngayon.
Sir, last point relatedly, can you
Sa ngayon, sorry, nakakalimutan ko.
Yeah.
Kino-contain natin na hindi kumalat yung violence beyond the areas of Patikul.
Sir, relatedly, can you confirm the reports that you have a scheduled meeting with Chairman Ibrahim of MILF today here?
No. I'm going to Zamboanga Norte after this.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Maraming salamat, Mr. President, at maraming salamat sa mga kasama sa media. Magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat.